Had I been in the cutting room of Dune Part 2, here would have been my top 10 objective comments from the point of view of a visual effects artist and an independent filmmaker, and my humble opinion how to get them fixed. Just be aware, spoilers ahead. So let's just get into it. So the first one that I want to show you is the eclipse scene, right? Obviously, like, this is the sun, right? And we have like two moons, right? And then the movement of these, as you can see later, you see that they are going to that direction, right? So let's just play it and see in the sequence the progression of the eclipse, right? So we see this a little bit later, we see the full eclipse. You can see that the direction, right? I mean, I already showed you the direction that's going this way, right? So the next scene, and you can see the small moon here as well. As you can see, like, this is the small moon, right? So the next scene, let's just go to the next scene. Like, at this point, the next time that we see the eclipse, it almost feels like it's clearing out, right? It's almost like, I mean, again, you can see the moon here and the sun is this, right? So it almost feels like it's clearing out, right? But let's see what happens. Like, the next scene, it goes back. What does that even mean? You see what's happening here? It's going backward. In a way, it's going that direction instead of just a continuation of the previous motion. And then, like, the last scene we see, like, again, it goes back to that position that was behind Paul. So this is, again, it could have been fixed either like just making this one almost the same as this one, right? Or fix this one, make this one like this, basically. So when we go towards the end, it makes sense. Okay, the eclipse is almost clear. So this is my first comment. What's next? Again, we're talking about the moons. What's going on here? I'll just give you a second to just see what's going on here. I mean, look at this. The focus is here, right? The focus is here, right? And we have kind of a pretty shallow depth of field, right? I mean, having this type of depth of field at night, it's going to be crazy. I mean, obviously, these are day to night shots. They added these two moons later, but they are too sharp. I mean, they should be more blurred compared to the dune in the background here, right? I mean, they shouldn't be this visible. I'm going to show you like a photo of how, for instance, our moon gets out of focus. Like, we have a sharp, like, just imagine this is Paul and something is in between, and then we have the moon. So this needs to be like that. These needs to be more out of focus, and they are not. So that's basically it. The next one is actually the eyes. So the eyes, for everyone, almost everyone, actually, they use, I think, an AI model to basically affect better like the white part, which is sclera, right? And then the pupil, right? So they need to apply, like, both needs to be blue. But anyway, I mean, this is fine here, but look at these shots. I don't know, maybe the AI model didn't do a good job, or maybe they forgot about these shots, but this is basically one shot at the beginning that they're seeing Mahdi, right? And these two guys, I mean, I don't see anything happening to the eyes, right? Even look at Stilgar, right? I mean, you can see a touch of blue that's happening here. But I mean, in those shots, it's not. Like, look at it, look at here. So even if they're in the shadows, they should have a little bit of blue eyes, but it's not happening. To be honest, I can even see like this guy that has a bit of blue. But I believe the AI model skipped this one, or didn't realize these are eyes or whatever. But that's one thing. What else? This epic scene, right? I love these scenes that plays with the human scale and how you have so much negative space and suddenly something enters the frame and it shows that epicness, that scale of like everything's being so humongous in this world. So this is the scene. I mean, obviously, like everything, like we have, this is practical. Everything's in the shot. This dune is in the shot. Like this dune is in the shot, right? Everything is in the shot, probably. This shadow is added later, right? First off, like you see some weird edges, like for instance here, like I don't know what's this, right? Let's just say, okay, it's fine. I mean, to be honest, I mean, they could have just feathered this out or something, but I mean, that's a weird edge. But anyway, like this, you see this crop, but these are from the shadow. But something else that's really jarring is towards the end, like at this point. Just look at all these lines that's being stretched on this dune, right? Again, these shouldn't happen. Like the shadow doesn't do that, doesn't spread like that. I think if it were like a CG shadow, like in 3D, it would have looked real because it's based on physics. But I think this could have been something 2D that's been added. That's kind of like stretched some pixels. It's weird. I mean, even you can see like this dust, basically it's kind of like having a halo or something, so it's been rotoed and that shadow has been put behind it. Now the riding scene, again one of my favorite scenes. After this, Paul looks at the distance. We can just pause and see what's going on with this shot. Actually, if I go to the next shot, you see what's going on. What is this shadow? This is from the clouds, right? We don't have clouds basically in Dune. Even we have like some type of shadow of some clouds here as well. So this should have been painted out, basically. That's it. I mean, that's as simple as that. It's nothing crazy. This shot, which is the kind of jump cut, like we jump into this painting, like wall painting. I think they were inspired, like the editor, he was inspired by the Lawrence of Arabia, that famous scene that we cuts into the sunrise. But it doesn't work here. Why this is not working this time is because we're getting from a moving object and suddenly it just stops. That's basically the issue. And I think a solution for this would be, instead of using a locked camera that's showing the worm moving, like basically panning from left to right, from here to here, basically we are mounted on on Shai Hulud, right, on the worm, and then that's moving and we are moving and Paul is stationary in the camera. I mean, this could have been done like that and the cut wouldn't be that jarring. All right, the Harkonnen like planet. It was a brilliant idea to just film these in infrared. It's crazy like how silky smooth the skins are, and it's kind of like scary. It feels like they're haunted. So anyway, this shot, I mean, again, maybe it was done in grade, but at some point, I mean, he gets like super shiny. Like just look at the values here and the sand at the bottom. Like, I think again they went overboard. I mean, again, maybe it was done in grade, but this is like too much. The intensity, the values of the skin on the around the head is like so high, and it doesn't happen basically unless you're glowing. You're a holy individual and you're just glowing, right? This guy is not glowing basically. And if you look at the next shot, you see that it's more balanced. Like when you look at the value here and the sand, it's the same. Of course, we have parts of it that's been in the sunlight, but we don't have that here. He's in the shadow right now. It's almost the intensity is as if it's in the sunlight. So I think, yeah, that was looking weird. So the next one is this shot that we have like a Bene Gesserit recruiter. When she starts talking, like it's a trick that you use lighting as a form of storytelling, that you shine a light or the more the character is in shadows, it means like the more hidden message or more mysterious it is, more he or she is not direct, right? So here it's kind of like as if at the beginning she's just playing around, fooling around. Yeah, I was lost, whatever. And then as soon as he realizes that she's Bene Gesserit, she completely gets dark. I think this part is done in grade because like these kind of like fireworks that kind of shows her face, I don't think they really did it in the lighting. Maybe they did and they just switching between the plates, but it's done poorly. I'll be honest with you. Just look at this shape. Like this shape is always there, like and it's kind of washed out. I mean, it's just bizarre. Like this part, it's too flat, too washed out, and you see this giant shape circle on the right. And I'm not picking on the grade. I mean, if it's done on grade, it's just they have limited tools. You see again, you see the circle. If they haven't done it in like they didn't film it with real lights, they could have just done it with visual effects, right? Again, you can see the lights here as well. I think if I go frame by frame, it's kind of like weird. Like I go forward. I mean, I think I can see it the light as well at this point. I think, yeah, something like that. It's just weird. Like, I don't know. I mean, this part, it feels flat. It doesn't feel interesting. That being said, I'm gonna go to the last scene. I have a couple of things I want to point out. One is the ship, the giant, the emperor's ship, or Padishah. Padishah in Persian actually means the emperor, and not his name, but it's kind of his title basically. What's going on here is that this cut is again so jarring. I mean, I think again the reason is that we have a white sky and then we have a kind of a shape here, like this shape, right? And suddenly it disappears, and then the two kind of shape like this appears it's again, it's a little bit jarring. I mean, I think there are a couple of solutions for this. Maybe it could have been like this could have exited completely from the frame and then we cut into that, or we could have just cut into a scene that has more action in it, so it's not just a white sky basically. My last comment is position of the daggers, right? Let me tell you what I mean by that. So first Feyd like just obviously stabs Paul with his dagger, or actually with Paul's dagger, I think, into his left kidney, right? You can see that his left kidney is gone. Then he tries to just stab his heart. So far so good, right? And what happens, that tiny slither of like hope that he was Paul was like talking about, that there's like a small chance that I can just see the future, is he takes out the dagger within his body and just stabs him in the heart, right? But at the same time, so you can see like he's stabbing the heart. At the same time, like he also stabs him again. But the question is where, because he took the knife out of his left kidney. The question is where. I think at a time when they were filming it, they weren't sure that where they want to put it, right? I think initially they put it at here, right? At the bottom, like again, right side of the belly. And I guess they thought, okay, I mean, there are like so many important organs over there. Like maybe it's close to the right kidney. If someone doesn't have like any kidneys, I mean, they're not going to survive. So anyway, maybe at this point when they shot it, they put it here. I mean, obviously you can't see it here. Let me just show you frame by frame that you are going to see that it's not at the top. And the next shot, it is, as I said, right? It's here. I mean, it's stabbed at the bottom. Like his shoulder is here. It's stabbed here. However, when we go to the last shot, it's on his shoulder. It's like just what's happening here. It's all over the place. Again, I think what happened is that it wasn't decided where the second hit is going to be hit, right? The second stab. And when they shot it once and then they realized, oh my God, I think we made a mistake. We should just maybe the second one should be more somewhere that doesn't have any organs. And then they decided on this. But they forgot that shot. I mean, that could have been done again in visual effects. You can just clean it up and just add the second stab on the top. That was a problem, right? I mean, because that was an iconic scene. That's something like the final fight scene. So everything should have been planned before the shoot. When they shot, they realized Paul wouldn't survive without any kidneys, right? He's needed for the Holy Wars.